Hey everybody, yo, how's everybody doing? What's happening? This is Ish from your Cali Current Podcast host.
And your co-host Grimace. What up, everybody?
Hope everybody's doing great today. Thank you very much for being here. We do appreciate you always being around no matter what, because we always bring you very important, very entertaining topics. Today we're going to actually speak about something near and dear to a lot of us that actually probably have gone to a live event, in other words at a stadium or at a concert or anything like that. But to start off, that's what we're going to kick it off with.
Yeah, about our best and worst concert experiences or stadium experiences, or at least ones that, kind of stand out to us.
Yeah.
And also, incredible moments or disasters. And also, which one's better? What's better, seeing it live or just, watching the events from the house? And also sneaking into events. If you've ever done it, hopefully we don't get prosecuted or anything like that. But
no, I think that would have been the case. We would have had a record already. I'm sure a lot of us have done it. Not all of us, but a lot of us. But the one true event that I really want to speak on is I remember going to the Denver Nuggets Lakers game here in Staples Center when it was still called Staples Center back like in 2001-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time I was sitting in nosebleeds, so it sort of didn't really matter because everything was like tiny, minute. We couldn't really see anything, so it sort of sucked for that reason, alone.
Was it the Staples Center or
it was the Staples Center. Well, it was Staples Center in 2001-ish. Well, yeah, like around 2001. It was still like brand new because that one barely got built at the end of around 2000, I guess. But that was probably like the worst experience that I've had because tickets were like $80 a pop at that time. And that was back in the early thousands. I mean, I don't know. It's the worst game that I think I've ever been to.
Yeah, $80 for a Laker game. That's, every time I've gone, it's always like usually. No, you're right. I remember going to same thing. It was the Lakers versus the Bulls game, and yeah, I think it was about $90. But it wasn't nosebleeds. It was actually like the middle section, like at the top of the middle section.
Okay, yeah, no, that's still pretty up there because the further you get up not from the floor, but from the first tier, everything starts looking a little bit smaller and smaller. I think I could contrast that with also going to a Laker game. I don't remember the team that they were playing, but I still remember that I think it was in 2007 or 8 maybe, and Kobe was still around, of course, and Derek Fisher, that team was still together.
All right.
And I still remember getting really close-up shots of the team or Kobe shooting free throws and Derek Fisher. That was my best Laker game experience I guess then, not anymore, Staples Center. That was, the best and the worst for the Laker games events.
So it was the best or the worst, that event
no,
for you? When you went?
The worst was the one, the Denver Nuggets in 2001, and the best was in 2007 when I went to the Laker game, which was, a big difference, whatever years later.
I had it was a bad but also learning experience. I went to a Laker game. As it's in the basketball games, I like to pregame it, because everything's really more expensive inside a stadium.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was pregaming it really hard. I guess drank too much, and then at the stadium I probably had some more in there too. But it was a learning experience in that, I had drank so much that I didn't really recall too much of the event. So spend all this money on tickets, the time to commute and go battle through traffic to get to the Laker game versus Bulls. And then since, I had drank too much, I don't really recall much of the event or not too much memory. I was like,
so you were basically mostly concentrating on drinking, not watching the game or enjoying the game.
Well, I was enjoying the game, but the thing as far as the memory, the memory is like fuzzy. At the moment I was living it up,
Of course.
But yeah, that event, that's kind of where I learned, like, okay, when I go to an event or something like that, like, don't go all out in the drinking, because then you it's not a memorable experience. And for the prices and the event itself, like watching Kobe at a Laker game, that's a pretty epic event right there.
And I didn't say it, but that game that I saw with Kobe, I don't remember who the other opposing team was, because I was so like starstruck that Kobe was shooting free throws. I was in the second tier, and I think those tickets cost about, I don't know, about 200-ish.
Oh, damn.
But I was in the second tier. I wasn't all in nosebleeds in the third tier or anything like that. But I had to go down to the first tier, which was fine, because by the fourth quarter, in a lot of these Laker games, people tend to leave early because they don't care. If the Lakers are winning or up by like 20 plus. And in a basketball game, it doesn't matter because you could be up within 5 minutes. You could be down again by like 20 again,
Yeah.
So, whatever. People left early and I went down there. I basically took very good close-ups of Kobe shooting free throws and Derek Fisher, of course. So that was the best experience in that regard because, it could be a big difference between getting nosebleeds in a, indoor stadium like a basketball game as compared to being outside like in a football stadium, because a football stadium, of course, the circumference is way much bigger, but the field is also much longer. It's 100 yards end to end, just on the end zones. But yeah, no, I mean, that was the best, I think. But, for that type of game, yeah. I think, and I can follow up with, the best. I mean, I haven't really gone to a lot of football games. But you know what? Don't feel bad about you being drunk because that's the whole point of pre-gaming it.
Yeah.
Because, tailgating was invented for that reason, I'm like, hey, I want to be all S-faced when tailgating. Why not? I've never done it. I mean, I've never been to a football game tailgating either.
Yeah, the only thing is that it messes with the memory. So then it's just like, well, you're going to this event, you wanna have a good time and you want to remember the good time too.
Yeah.
So so from that went on, then I was conscious more like, all right, don't go too hard on the alcohol. That way, you can still remember the good time that I had, that was right there.
Yeah. So, okay. So that was what type of game you said that was last, when you really were like gone and you sort of, I guess, blacked out or whatever the case that may have been. What kind of event was that?
Yeah, no, I didn't black out. It's just then the next day, then I was like, oh, it was like fuzzy. I couldn't remember too much of the game itself.
Okay.
So that was when the Lakers played the Bulls.
Okay.
Around that time, who did they have?
Oh, so yeah, you're right. You did say it was a Laker game.
Yeah.
So the next best thing for me would be a baseball game. First, I love being at Lakers games, but they're too expensive for crying out loud. They're very expensive, and I don't blame them. The Lakers are the premium team in the entire NBA.
And yeah, they're in demand, and especially, like, everybody likes the Lakers, a high demand ticket, I would say.
But at that time, beers weren't that expensive. I think, if I remember correctly, $12 for a beer, $8 for a hot dog. Those are still reasonable prices back then, but now that we're nowhere even close to getting that. So the best, I mean, I'm an Angels fan. We're both Angels fan. We grew up in Orange County, Santa Ana, California. And the first time that I remember being in an Angels game, I was in Little League in 1987. I wanted a jersey so bad from the Angels, but I never had one because, I guess back then they were expensive. My parents would never have bought me one, even if I cried and begged and pleaded. But my point is, I went with the team. Back then I was in Little League 1987. I was 10 years old. And I remember being at the Angels game. I don't remember what team they played, but I remember all the players on the field. I mean, we weren't that far away, but we weren't in nosebleeds either. We were in right field, and that was the best experience as a kid. But yeah, the next best thing is baseball, right?
Yeah, I mean, jerseys are pretty expensive. I mean, even to this day, like the authentic ones. I mean, nowadays, now they have more replicas, different levels of affordability, whatever. Yeah. But if you want the on-field ones, then yes, like I always wanted not always wanted, but every time I go to the Angel Stadium or I think, I'm going to get a jersey from the Angels, I was like, I'm going to get one from the stadium, coming from the home of the Angels or from the home. But yeah, those on-field ones are ranging like a Mike Trout one. They wanted like 400. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. And I've been a few Angels games. Like the last time I was about like 8-9 years ago. Uh-huh. And I don't remember who they played. But yeah, I got sort of drunk and we pre-gamed it. Nice. With my wife and I at that time, we went with a different couple, a work couple of hers that she worked with, a female and her partner. But it's like, whatever, as far as I remember, I had a great time. We pre-gamed it, we post-gamed it. But I found it odd that couple, or the girl at least, she was my wife's coworker at that time. It's like, she literally went straight for a Colt 45 after the game. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, like who buys Colt 45s after a baseball game or whatever?
A Colt 45?
Colt 45. I'm not kidding. I'm like, wow, straight to the malt liquor. It's like,
ratchet.
That's hardcore. Yeah. To say the least, right?
Yeah. Oh, another badass experience that we had. One time I went with my uncle and my primo. We went to an Angels game. I think this is what they were still owned at this time. They were owned by Disney. You know, and they had like
Okay,
the blue
the Anaheim
logo.
Angels, because at that time they were the Anaheim Angels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Anaheim Angels.
Yeah,
So you know how I don't know if they still do it. They the way some stadiums do.
because they've always been the California Angels before.
Yeah.
To everything else, and then they changed when Disney owned them. It was Anaheim.
It's Anaheim Angels.
Yeah.
So we had won a raffle, like, you know, like if you're seating in seat section 621.
Yeah.
So they picked our seat and we won a year supply of Pepsi.
Oh dang! Did you guys take advantage of that?
Well, we all split it. I mean, it was like a year supply of one person. So it was like 3 of us, and then we all split it. My Theo, like after the game, they're like, "Oh yeah, just pull up your car at this location."
Oh, they literally like put it in a truckload.
They put it. Well, the first one, yeah, like.
Oh,
Then they were
damn.
gonna send some like every month to a location or something like that, or to the
Okay.
home. But yeah, at first, like since it was like I guess just to make it like part of the experience, that you know my uncle Mateo he just parked his Thunderbird, and then they just loaded it up with all these Pepsis, all these 36 packs. So then yeah, like we got home and everyone like took their little share of Pepsi and. A 36 pack. So yeah, that season, that was probably one of the best experiences there. And then, we're young. Me and my cousins were like, oh yeah, soda.
I'm sure you guys had a sugar high for the rest of the week because
For
of the Pepsis.
for the rest of the year and the
Yeah,
week.
well,
yeah.
I mean, to begin with, yeah, no, that sounds like a great experience actually.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I've never been to a hockey game. I'm just gonna confess that straight up right now. I don't remember actually. Maybe no, I've never been to one. The best concert that I've ever gone to, I would say, is here at the Honda Center. Back then, it's called Honda Center. But actually, back then, it was called Arrowhead Pond, maybe. I don't think it was Honda Center yet, here in Anaheim. I went to Blink 182. I went for free, actually, because I guess it was a female friend, a church friend, that we were in the same group. Not in the same group, but whatever. She invited me. She was dating one of my friend's brothers at that time, and he punked out on her, like, straight up. I don't know. They always had issues. They were always fighting, and I know it was mostly him because she was a very calm demeanor person, and one day she's like, "Hey, I'm going to the concert tonight, Blink 182." Back was in 2002 at their height of their popularity, and I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And then we went and we had a great time. And I mean, I've gone to free concerts before. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind paying for concerts myself, but I would go to a Spanish speaking concert, like a rock and pop group in Spanish or.
Oh, like a Spanish?
Yeah, but I'll
Yeah,
get
Blink
to them.
182. Though I wouldn't see
That
you at
would've
a
been
Blink 182.
No.
Oh, you were a fan though of Blink 182.
You know what?
Well, they were pretty popular. Yeah, who wasn't? I guess
I was. Well, after that concert, I became a bigger fan. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I hadn't really been to many concerts, but my sister got some tickets once to I think it was a K-Day concert.
Okay.
And it was pretty cool because I had like different like since it was the radio, like a Radiothron concert. So then they had various artists. Not like because if you go to like a Blink 182 show, you're only gonna have so many artists, right? It's gonna be primarily. But since I guess this was a
Opening act.
yeah.
Maybe a DJ, an opening act, and then Blink.
Oh yeah.
That's how it works usually.
So since this one was a radio one, they had E40, Too Short, Mac 10.
So they had a long lineup.
Yeah,
a big
long
cast
lineup.
of stars. Okay.
But then the stars, they probably only do like 1 or 2 sets or songs, and then
like 10, 15 minutes max.
yeah, and then so it's give or take. Versus when it's specifically like a Maná concert or a Blink 182, then they do like a lot of their like a whole album, if not 2. I'm guessing. I guess.
Yeah. No, that's great. That sounds great. I mean, I've been to a lot of concerts. I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned it in previous podcasts or not, once or twice maybe. I used to work backstage productions, and I mean, this was about 15 years ago when I started. I only did it for 4 or 5 years, but before that, prior to that, I used to pay to go to rock pop, small venues, a lot of standing room only venues here at the Grove in Anaheim, which is literally in the same parking area as the Angels Stadium or whatever, the Los Angeles. What are they called now? The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim or something like that?
There you go.
It's a long name. And I understand why they did it, why they put that Los Angeles Angels. A lot of Dodgers fans don't like that because they don't appreciate the Angels being from Los Angeles. But they are because I always say to myself, hey, where are you from? And I tell people LA because it's the closest major city, right?
No, I'll just tell them Orange County. I mean,
no, well, Orange County is too expansive. There's an Orange County in Florida too. I wouldn't say Orange County.
No, I say it. And then sometimes we're like Florida. I'm like, no, Orange
But
County on the west side.
but back then I did the same. I used to go to a long lineup of artists, and I love that. Standing room only here at the Grove.
Yeah.
I remember that I mean, not because I want to talk about other things, but the best tequila that I've ever had was at one of those concerts, like around 2003 or 4ish, before I started working backstage productions, and I saw a lot of different artists from rock and pop era, rock in the 80s, rock and idioma, if you want to say it in Spanish, from the 80s and 90s groups, and I tried Don Julio Reposado the first time ever, fell in love with it. Been buying Don Julio ever since. Free plug right there. I'm sorry, but not to plug it for free, but just give it a little tidbit.
It's good tequila. I like it too. But yeah, it's apparently according to statistics, the average concert in 2024 was $120. Like, damn. And it says it's up 33% in the last 5 years. But then I guess that statistic might be kind of skewed because I guess it depends what concert you go to. I mean, in December, we went to MC Magic, Baby Bash, and Lil Rob concert. And I think the tickets were probably like $60. But yeah, this thing is saying on
That's
average,
still up there. I remember the good old days when it was $20 a ticket, or maybe $10 if you went in before 9, whatever, because they wanted people to start getting a little smashed earlier, and they do half price or something before, whatever.
Yeah, you're right. That now that you bring it up, I mean, I was younger. I wouldn't really go, at a young age to concerts and stuff. But yeah, I remember kind of seeing that, like, $20 to go see Snoop Dogg or something like that. That sounds about right. Versus now, like if you want like a top tier artist like that, like I guess 120 or even Bad Bunny or Taylor Swift is even.
I literally took my wife in 2023 in September to go see a washed up Luis Miguel who couldn't sing worth a lick anymore because he couldn't even hold a note for more than 2 seconds. Doesn't matter what octave he was in, low, middle, or high. He usually sings low to middle. But my point is, soprano, if you guys want to know exactly, for all you music people that know out there. But he couldn't sing anymore. He was washed up, and I paid $180 per ticket.
Well, was he at least singing
we weren't that close, but we were on the first floor. No, he wasn't.
Singing it?
No, he wasn't.
So they just played the track, and he was kind of like...
Everybody was singing their songs for him. He wasn't lip-syncing. He was trying to sing, but he couldn't hold a note. And this was when he was doing a whole concert tour, and he was doing, 2 or 3 concerts a week. But my point is, that's how much it's gone to be, Because I still remember also going to Disneyland back in the day about mid to late 90s and paying $20, $25 still back then. Okay. Everything's just gone so grossly misconstrued and overpriced. And, how much you think we would pay? I mean, we're going to go to a game pretty soon here at opening day for the, Anaheim Angels. Now, I still call them Anaheim Angels. Now, I'm sure the things aren't going to be like the beers aren't going to be $12 anymore. I'm sure we're either going to pay $20 for a beer and maybe $12, $13 for a hot dog, possibly.
Yeah, what's the statistics are also saying that food prices are up 40% in the last decade. That the average beer in an NFL game is like $11, which that's even pretty lower tier than what I'm used to. I mean, when I go to the Angel Stadium games, I remember seeing the beers will probably be like $15. I mean, at least you get a tall can out of it. So if you think about it, a tall can, you're getting 2 drinks out of that. So that's like $8 each. But yeah, let's transitioning to the next topic is, where would you say is better? Would you prefer to watch the games or event, concert in person? Or would you prefer to see it in the comfort of your own home? I mean, me personally, I like watching them live, even though some people say, whoa, no, like, you can see it more better in the comfort of your home. Which, yeah, I mean, it is pretty comforting to be in your house. You don't got to worry about, like, going to the restroom, the long lines if you have to use a restroom, or, the prices of food, parking and all that. But I would still prefer live, because live you get the atmosphere of all the people. And, if it's like the Angels game, everyone's like an Angels fan mainly. So it's like, oh, yeah, everyone's on the same team. So yeah, I would always say it's always better. I would say, me personally, I prefer live event. I mean, the only negative thing for me would be the prices of everything and whatnot.
It's a fine line. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, especially now in this economy, especially now that we're in inflation times and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And the economy's only not getting better, but it's not getting any cheaper either right now, especially. So just not taking that factor into account, not talking about today. We're talking about in general.
Mm-hmm.
For just to say, for I guess for basketball, I think I would rather watch it on TV. Not because I don't care to pay the high prices to be there live, but it's a different experience watching it on TV. You get to see a little bit more better because it depends where you sit, you know. Because sometimes if you get unlucky, you could sit behind the basketball, the square or whatever I forgot what it's called, the rim, the frame or whatever, and you're gonna get stuck there and you're not gonna enjoy the game. So I think for me, basketball in an indoor setting is better. For baseball, I think I would also rather be at the game. It's a different experience, you could see everything. It depends where you're sitting. Usually nosebleeds, they're going to look smaller, but at least you could see it. You can still see where the ball's going, this, that, and the other. But for me, for football, you remember we only went to a football? Well, I only went with you one time, and it was a pregame Chargers versus Packers here at the old Qualcomm Stadium. I don't know if it's used anymore.
Yeah.
But since the Chargers are here in LA, I don't know what the hell they do there now. But yeah, it was a preseason game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it one bit. Why? Because I think people don't understand that football is really slow. You really have to wait a long time in between each, down for there to be action. And I didn't like that.
I didn't like it.
So I wouldn't overpay all that money just to be sitting there for 3 or 4 hours max.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing the tailgating because I want to go to, eventually a USC college football game one day. But, I would want to experience the tailgating and the whole experience through that.
You know what? We did that once. We went to, I forgot who UCLA was playing. But the UCLA game. And, we did the whole tailgating experience.
No, you and I only went to the Chargers at Packers.
Yeah.
Packers at Chargers preseason. That's the only time that you probably went with somebody else then.
Oh, yeah. No, me and a couple friends, we went to UCLA. I forgot who they're playing. And then, everyone's tailgating inside the stadium. But then one thing is, once we went inside the stadium, they didn't sell alcohol or beer. And I was thinking, is it because it's a college game? But then I've been talking to people, and like I said, I would tell them about the experience. Like, it was cool. But then once we went inside the stadium, they weren't selling alcohol. But then people were telling me, no, they sell alcohol at those college games. I was like, huh? So
you didn't find any in the concession stands?
Yeah, well, they're the ones that are like only sodas, or maybe you have to go to a specific concession stand since it's like a college.
I think so. I don't know how that works. I've never been to a college game. That sounds a little accurate, maybe.
I was thinking that, but I mean, because some college students, right? Not all college students are 21, because as soon as you go out of high school, you're like, 19 years old?
Yeah.
So, that's still not drinking
age. They have to control it.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe they had some alcohol stands, but, we just didn't try looking for it. And
there you go. Maybe it was a whole song and dance or whatever, It's not like, let's say you're on one side of the stadium or something, and then you're going to go and trek to the other side of the stadium just to find some alcohol. Who's going to do that, right?
Yeah.
By the time you walk over there, you're going to lose interest.
And then to top it off, since we were at the stadium, it was like a college game, our seats were like with no shades, straight in the sun. So that was pretty harsh. Like, we were pre-gaming outside, and then we go inside, and then it was like a hot summer. I think it was summer, but the sun was pretty hot. And then, we were just like halfway, like before even halftime, we're just like, hey, let's go to the back to the tailgating area and just watch the game from a television there. And we didn't see the second half live because it was too hot, and we ended up going back to see it from the comfort of the tailgate.
Have you ever been to a soccer game? It doesn't matter, indoor or outdoor, it doesn't matter, because I've been a few, and I've always recounted my experience about how Mexico got creamed by Chile in a friendly international game.
Oh, man.
7-0 at Levi Strauss Stadium in Santa Clara, California, where the 49ers play. I always talk about that experience because that's the one that stands out the most, where after, I guess, halftime when they were losing 3-0, I just lost interest, and I just started drinking, because that's the comfort right there, right?
Yeah.
You lose interest and you start drinking, and that's all you care about, drinking, not the game anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to care about the game unless they're getting creamed. Would you say 3-0?
Well, it was already halftime, and they were getting creamed 3-0. And by then, it's like, there's all hope lost because they're not going to come back from a 3-0 deficit. Mexico, ego-driven Mexico where everybody wants to score and nobody wants to pass, they're not going to win. They weren't even going to get close to tying either. So why? In my head, I'm like, why am I even here still? I could just literally walk away with my wife because I did go with my wife, and we didn't walk away. I sat there with the humiliation in my face, and I didn't care anymore because all I cared about was just getting smashed.
Yeah, and then also the good thing. Well, see if you watch it at home. I mean, if you have like a TiVo, you can always rewind it or see the replays. I mean, most stadiums nowadays they do the replays for good for whenever there's a good play or a slam dunk. They should have like a jumbotron and you could see it. But yeah, always when you're watching it from the house, if you even have a TiVo or some sort of recording device, you can always rewind it. So that's a good thing, be able to do that.
Well, the angles are better on TV. It just depends on what you look at. But I had really great seats, honestly, because I had won those seats on the radio station because I could go to any sporting event in LA within a 1-year period time frame. And that was the same year that LeBron beat the Golden State Warriors in Game 7 here in San Francisco. I should have picked that game because I was almost sure that they were going to go to the finals at that time. Even though this was in September-ish in the game, the season hadn't even started yet. But I could have just held out, I don't remember. I think the game was in May, but you're right. I could have held out, but I didn't. But my point being is that I was very disappointed. I had disgust in my face. That's after that day, I stopped rooting for Mexico in the international games. I only root for Brazil from now. Even though I'm Mexican-American, I root for Brazil.
So even to this day, when the World Cup comes to Los Angeles, you're not going to go for Mexico?
No, I'm not going to go to their games ever again. They disappointed me once. I'm not going to go through that humiliation life.
Well, not go to root for them.
In everything, and in general, and everything. But my point is, we were only 15 rows back, and we were basically on the center line. Oh, if it would have been a football game, that would have been awesome seats. Probably like $600-700 seats, maybe. Maybe even more, because football, they're just way overpriced. But I got those tickets for free. We got a hotel for free. We got our food for free. I even got a $200 gift card, cash gift card, so I could spend it however I wanted. We got everything free, but I ended up paying taxes at the end of the year. That's the only issue about if you get anything for free. Nothing is literally free in this world. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Well, actually, like if you're using what about the art of sneaking into events? Have you ever gotten into an event, sneak into it without a ticket or anything?
Okay, we've all done it. We've all been teenagers, broke as heck, trying to get into your favorite movie that you want to watch that came out that month, and we've either asked a buddy or somebody that we know to hold the door open for us.
Hey,
the outside door to get into the theater. Back then, there wasn't cameras like there is today.
Oh, that's true.
And we did it, right? I did it maybe once or twice. But the last time I did it was about 10 years ago. Well, about like 8 years ago with my wife. Everything.
That's a while ago, 8 years ago.
Well, yeah, we did it at well, I'm not going to say the name of the theater. I'm not going to give them credit. But, yeah.
So, I didn't sneak into a theater, but what we did do is, I think a lot of people do it too. You go watch one movie, and then after that movie, then, the movie's over, and, instead of walking out and leaving the theater, we would go to a different movie that's still playing. And then at the time, one of our friends was actually working at the movie theater. So after the movie finished, he had like on his notes or like the schedule of all the theaters and what time the movies are playing. So we would just be like, hey, what's the next movie, or which theater is going to start a new movie right now? And then, yeah, it was nice to have that connection, because then we were able to go to a different movie. But yeah, for paying just for that first movie. Another one though too is some theaters actually, I think they actually allow that, even where you get to pay for one movie and then they let you kind of sneak into different movies or different theaters. Also like the drive-in too. What I'm wondering though is with drive-ins, do they allow that? Because I know when you're at the drive-in, you're just like, you go see one movie, but they don't specifically say like once it's over, like, all right, you got to go to you got to go get out of here. Like if you just like turn around and face the other screens, then, you'll be able to enjoy that one too. But with the drive-ins, it probably doesn't work as much though, because with the drive-ins, each one already has like they all kind of start at the same time since it's the nighttime. Because the drive-ins always you don't have a daytime drive-in; it's always a nighttime.
See, the drive-ins, I remember when I was a kid, we used to go all the time. In the 80s, they were extremely popular still. The point is that my parents were always legit. They never wanted to sneak us, even though we had a station wagon. They never wanted to sneak us in the back or hide or whatever. I don't know. I guess, does it work that way that they charge per car or they charge per people?
I think they charge per car.
Okay, so yeah, so it wouldn't matter, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I guess they do the same thing now. I mean, there's a few drive-ins that are left over, but I haven't been to a drive-in since the 80s, so I wouldn't know how that works. Yeah, like I said, well, I didn't actually mention it. I mean, I sort of talked about it, and then I went away from it. My wife and I went to a movie theater about 8 years ago. We saw a movie. We finished the movie. We snuck into another movie, but guess what? A teenager comes out basically pulling our ears, telling us that we had to leave, and she literally was adamant. She literally bullied us out of the theater.
Damn.
Because she's like, oh, you have to pay for the movie. I'm like, okay, well, I guess they're hard up for money because if they're asking people on an empty theater to leave, it's like, okay. I mean, that was an experience, but I don't know if it's happened to a lot of people. It was humiliating to say the least, but it happened.
I mean, it probably wasn't too humiliating though, right? Because like you said, it was an empty theater somewhat. So, but yeah, just the fact of them calling you out on that.
There was like 3 or 4 people in the theater. Big deal.
Yeah.
It would have been more humiliating if there would have been more people. But it was humiliating in the fact that I've never been told to leave anywhere.
A good one where I was able to sneak in was when we went to the Canelo fight. Remember you, me, and our Tío and Primo went to go see Canelo versus Khan. And then
2007.
Yeah, and damn, 2007?
Sorry, 17.
17, yeah. And then yeah, I remember I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go take a picture with the ring girls or something like that." And then I went down there and then I saw people like walking to this other like
area.
The floor streets, yeah, like the floor seats whatever. I was like, let me go just check it out over there, go buy a beer over there or something. And then like I go over there, check it out, and then I'm just talking to the security that's like checking people's tickets, whatever. And then like, just messing around with him, like, hey, who's your favorite football player? Like, oh, that's your favorite. Like, Troy Polamalu's your favorite, isn't he? And just laughing, making that guy laugh, whatever. And then like I like walk around and I come back and he wasn't there. And I was like, I think he's kind of like letting me go. And then that's when I was able to just go over there and
oh wow, he let you in?
Well, he didn't let me in, but he was no longer guarding the area. Like when
Okay.
I went to I think the food concession stand or took a picture with some I think his name is something Ortiz, this boxer.
Tito Ortiz?
No,
that's
not
UFC. Oh yeah, I remember who the Ortiz, the Riverside guy, the heavyweight.
Yeah, the heavyweight.
Okay.
And but yeah, that was a pretty good venue too. And then
So you didn't get caught?
No, yeah.
You didn't have a VIP pass and nobody
No.
questioned you?
No
Yeah,
question.
that was so lucky.
You know who I think kind of did catch me? Oscar De La Hoya. Like he was like inside the ring though. I guess the fight had finished, and then like I was just like standing like being loud, whatever, cheering, and then like I think he kind of noticed like that. Oh, like that how you said that I didn't have the VIP pass. That's probably why. Like he's like, what's this guy doing? In, like on the floor with no VIP pass. I was like, how does he know? I'm not supposed to be in this area.
I can't believe you got away with that because usually if they don't see that big, the whatever the headband or the lanyard or whatever it's called with your big, rectangular pass, that's how people identify. Oh yeah, he belongs here or whatever. Like I said already, I've worked in VIPs. Well, backstage I had VIP access. I had backstage access. I mean, I've met my favorite rock pop stars in Spanish, but not all of them were great, but I don't get starstruck anymore for that reason. But yeah, no, I mean, that was the best experience. I got to meet a lot of people. I got to work with a lot of great people. Anything else that I got caught for? Well, the only thing that I probably got caught, well, that has nothing to do with anything. We can talk about it in a different podcast. Things that you probably done as a kid that you regret. I think that's going to be on the next podcast. So look out for that one. That topic's coming up because I've done a few mischievous things when I was a kid and my dad caught me. He caught me red-handed, and I'm going to talk about that on the next one.
The mischievous-ish. Oh, another good one. Also a boxing event. On that one, I was actually supposed to go with my uncle and another friend, but last minute change of plans. They ended up ditching and going to do something else. So I just went to the venue by myself. It was at the Mandalay Bay, and then I mean, I guess I had kind of nosebleed seats, but the Mandalay Bay venue is actually pretty. It's intimate. It's really small, so even the cheap seats are actually pretty good. So, anyways, I was just standing, I think, in line for the ticket or for a concession stand. I forgot, and I was talking like to these people, and then like we were kind of like built camaraderie. So we're kind of like friends, whatever. And then yeah, I think we all kind of went to the same area they went into, and then I saw some seats, and I was like, oh, hopefully they were like lower than where mines were.
Okay.
So and I was like, oh, hopefully like no one kicks me out. And I sat down, and then like two other guys, I think they were doing the same thing too. So they also like were in seats, I guess, that they didn't belong in, but they actually got caught. Like I think probably the seat holders got there, and then they were in the seats right next to me. So then they're like, oh no, these are our seats. And then so then they had like security, or not security, like the ticket checkers go there, and they escorted them out, and I was just like, oh, but they didn't tell me nothing. I was like, oh damn, I was close, like right next to me. The two guys, because the two seats next to me, those fools, they got caught or whatever, like they weren't supposed to be sitting there. But yeah, I guess since no one was sitting on my seat, then I was like, oh damn, that was a close one.
Yeah, you know what? And I remember that night that you disappeared at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas when we went to watch Canelo fight Khan. No wonder I didn't see you till the next morning, because you bolted. I mean, I was only sitting there with our other cousin, and I walked back alone. I still remember, I was gone. I was already blitzed out of my mind.
Wow.
But I don't remember seeing you or him, whatever.
The rest of the night.
Well, my point is, he was there, but then we ended up separating.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I thought you were with him, but I guess, now I know where you guys were, or whatever. You guys were doing stuff in terms of you were probably experienced things that I would have never have done. I don't have those kind of nerves of steel to be doing what the hell you did, because I learned my lessons when I was a kid, and just because I wanted to touch up on that, because I remember you were gone for the longest time, and I didn't see you till the next morning. Yeah,
that one was really fun. Canelo versus Khan. That was the first boxing event, I think, in that stadium.
I think it was. Actually, it was. It was one of the first.
Brand new.
Yeah, no, but I mean, yeah, you're right. It was still built at that time, barely brand new. It was the first major event, I think, and it was a great night. I mean, we had our fun and all, but I remember.
The other venue that I went to at the Mandalay Bay, that one was Andre Ward versus Sergio Kovalev. And then after that fight, Andre Ward retired. He was a pretty good boxer, but yeah, he got out early. I mean, well, boxing's pretty brutal, I guess, too many hits to the head. You don't want to take too many, I guess.
Watching the Cali Current Podcast, and thank you very much for being here. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button.
Yeah, that's right. Make
your host Ish.
Your co-host Grimace, and
So if you have any comments about what your favorite thing that you've done in terms of going to any type of game, any sporting event, any type of concert, or anything like that, please feel free to comment. We appreciate any and all comments at that time. This time we will be more than happy to answer them or to get feedback from you.
Yeah, let us know of any sneaky events you guys. Any events you guys might have sneaked into, or events that you got caught at, and in the comments, something that'll be pretty funny.
And just because I want to mention it one last time too, I've been so lucky that I paid for my own concerts when I was already about 20 years ago, when I was going to concerts when they were still $25 at the very most, and but when I was younger, I went to a Gloria Estefan concert for free. Of course, I went to the Blink-182 concert for free. And I also went to Caifanes when they were still together they were Jaguares then, because they already had broken up, like in 1995-ish, for free, because I had a friend from growing up that we went to college, and I guess his girlfriend lagged on him or something, and I got to go see Jaguares or Caifanes at that time, whatever, for free at, I don't remember where they were. I think it was Probably at a small venue. I don't remember if. Oh, I think it was at the LA Forum, if I'm right. Yeah, at the LA Forum.
Have you been with any concerts at the
That's
Santa
right.
Fe Springs?
That's where I saw Gloria Stefan too at the LA Forum, but we were far away at that time. I was in sixth grade, 1988. Yes, I have. I mean, I was there like in 2007 ish. Small place. There wasn't nobody known. There was just local bands or whatever. But yeah,
They kind of remodeled it. I haven't. I don't think. Well, no, yeah, I have been there since it's been remodeled.
so they made
pretty
it a
nice.
full on stage now.
A better stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wish I could say that I DJ'd big venues, but I never DJ'd a venue like that or anything like that. I wish. I mean, maybe one day I will. Who knows?
Ramona Ayala performed there at the Santa Fe Springs one. Have you seen him?
Yeah. I saw him at the at the Anaheim Convention Center.
Oh, for real? Nice.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of good bands, like people that I like.
He gets down with the accordion. I was like, that's
Well,
crazy.
he's basically doing a farewell tour right now. So if you guys like Ramon Ayala or Norteño music, you guys better watch him because he's basically going to retire after these last few concerts coming up.
He's really old. He's really old, no?
Well, yeah, he could barely. I mean, he sits down on a wheelchair or whatever. He sits
Oh.
down playing the accordion now, so he's basically ready to retire. He's made all the fans and or crowds cheer for him as much as he could already.
Nice.
He's a great guy. I hear he's a great guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. But same thing. I mean, I remember Santa Fe used to be pretty. I enjoyed it because the beer prices were pretty, not too high. But then I remember the last time I went, then they went back to market prices now.
And this is another thing too about beer prices. If you guys, I know that I hear that people talk about experiences or whatever. Riders say that the best beer prices out of the U.S. are in Vietnam. I mean, this was about 5 years ago when they told me that you could buy beer for $1, a 12 ounce or whatever. But that's another topic that we're willing to get into. Favorite destination places where you can enjoy certain things.
Hey, like TJ has like them dollar beers too. I
Not
remember.
anymore.
Oh, not anymore. Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean,
it's
yeah,
been,
this was true 20 years ago, but not anymore.
yeah, exactly. It was like 2005 when I went
Well,
last time.
but I hear that there's places like small places, not venues, but like you go to see like a minor league baseball team, and sometimes they'll have beer special days where you can pay like $1 a beer, and people flock to great because that's a main a marketing tool to get people to go to their games for a certain game or something, and they do stuff like that. That's still a thing. I bought beer, $1. Sorry, let me say it again. I bought $1 tacos at a taco truck in Westminster. If you guys ever have a chance to come out there and check it out, it's called Andy's Taco Truck, I think. I don't know now in this economy if they're gonna keep selling for $1.
Yeah. Well, might have to check it out one of these days.
Thank you very much for being here at the Cali Current Podcast. Your host, Imish.
And co-host Grimace.
Your host. You know what?
Scrimmage.
No, I was
gonna have a scrimmage.
I think I said Himish. No, because I've been thinking about yesterday, the movie with Himish Patel. Your host, Ish. Sorry about that. Well, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and telling your friends and your family and everybody that you know. Please pass the word. We would greatly appreciate you as a listener, as a viewer, and as somebody that's here all the time.
That's right. Peace out, everybody.
Take care, everybody. And if it don't work, if it's broke, don't fix it. I don't know, something like that. Whatever. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.